Hey, everybody. Are you listening to our show and thinking, I want to have a podcast too? Well, I'm here to tell you that you should use Anchor. First of all, it's free. Second of all, they have creation tools that let you record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. It's so easy, and I like easy. And now you can even add any song you want from Spotify right into your episodes, which is so great because, hey, free music. Also, Anchor distributes your podcast for you. So they will put it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more options. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. I really feel like you guys should do this. Just download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today.
Stuck at home, bored and alone. You'd think I could have some fun on my own, but I'm bored AF. I'm bored AF.
With Cecily and Stephanie.
Hey, everybody. It's Cecily and Stephanie, your bored AF gals. And that sounded so cheesy. It's your gals. Sorry.
It's your lady friends, your special lady friends who, come visit every single month.
Or in Cecily's case, every couple of weeks. And we're going to try to be even more
for some reason.
TMI.
Never too much information. They always want to know what's going on gynecologically, I think. That's why we're all friends.
It's the news from down there, down under.
What if that was our whole show? How are you doing on your cycle, Cecily? Well, I don't know. I think I'm ovulating, but who knows these days, And what does that even mean, right? Well, that's our show.
Oh, my God. We entertain ourselves more than we ever need to entertain you guys. We're getting a lot out of this. Just want you guys to know. Okay, here's the deal. Some stuff came up. This is a little peek behind the curtain. Some stuff came up in the news that I called Cecily to talk about. And normally I would say, hey, we'll wait till next week to talk about it. But then I have this idea of hey, maybe we should just talk about it now and put out a little extra episode.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we're doing. That's what's happening right now. And we may keep doing this. This may be a little feature that we do every week where we just have we're going to call it hot takes for now, but we're going to come up with something better.
Yeah, something that doesn't sound like we're 80-year-old Hollywood,
hot
writers for
from
variety.
The special ladies, yeah. We wish variety, something that doesn't even exist anymore, Backstage West. Hot takes from Backstage West. Plus auditions near you. We give you where to go for a cattle call. Hey, we're you know what? Come to us for everything, for gyno stuff, hot takes on entertainment news, and auditions.
But here's a compliment to you guys. I want to let you in on another thing. So I called Cecily to say, hey, this thing came up in the news. And, did you already cover this for your gossip stuff that you do for the radio? And Cecily said to me, no, I didn't, because that's not really they wouldn't get, that's more for a bored AF crowd.
Right. It's a bored AF specific. And so here we are. And so today, I think we're going to talk about, this is crazy. This Patton Oswalt versus, it's not versus Dave Chappelle. No. It's just Patton Oswalt and Dave Chappelle and their friendship and all that's around it and what people are saying and what Patton's saying. And this, I don't want to say triggered you. Did it trigger you?
This kind of thing always triggers me. I'll tell you why. Because, let's tell them the story and then I'll say why it triggered me.
You lead with the story, and we might have differing opinions on this one. I think we might.
I don't think we will.
Okay, you start.
Oh my God, you're assuming a lot about me. And you're okay.
This is our last hot take, you guys. We gave it a shot. Really did try.
First and last hot take. We're sorry. We thank you. We're sorry. Okay. What happened was that Patton Oswalt. Look, you know what? Let me let the article on CNN tell the story. First of all, CNN wants to know if I want them to summarize the news for me every day. No, I don't. Thank you, though. All right, CNN. Okay, Patton Oswalt shared a heartfelt letter on social media explaining his longtime friendship with fellow comic Dave Chappelle as controversy over Chappelle's jokes about trans people in his last Netflix special has continued. It started with one post where Oswalt explained he performed a recent show with Chappelle. Oswalt took to social media with a note saying that Chappelle had texted him to come visit and do a guest set at the arena he was performing in next door. Mm-hmm. Why not? This is a quote from Patton. Why not? Yeah. I waved goodbye to this hell year with a genius that I started comedy with 34 years ago. He works an arena like he's talking to one person and charming their skin off. Anyway, I ended the year with a real friend and had a deep laugh. Can't ask for much more, Oswalt wrote. Mm-hmm. Well, some people did not think that was so great and innocent and awesome. After some backlash, Oswalt wrote a follow-up post saying he's been friends with Chappelle since they were teenagers and hadn't seen each other in a long time. Quote, he's a fellow comedian, the funniest I've ever met. I wanted to post a pic and an IG story about it, so I did. The friend is Dave Chappelle. 34 years we've been friends, he wrote. Quote, we've done bad and good gigs, open mics, and TV tapings. Okay.
And then this is where
Oswalt also addressed Chappelle's latest stand-up special, The Closer, and the fallout after its release, in which some Netflix employees had walked out over the streamer's decision to run the special. Oswalt wrote, quote, we 100% disagree about transgender rights and representation. I support trans people's rights, anyone's rights to live safely in the world as their fullest selves. He added that he will, quote, always disagree with Chappelle's stance on LGBTQ plus lives. He doesn't, quote, believe a seeker like him is done evolving, learning, quote. Mm-hmm. And then more quote, you know someone that long, see the struggles and changes. It's impossible to cut them off. Impossible not to be hopeful and open and cheer them on, end quote. Oswalt wrote, quote, I'm an LGBTQ ally. I'm a loyal friend. There's friction in those traits that I need to reconcile myself and not let cause feels of betrayal in anyone else. I don't understand that. But he added that he'd been, quote, carrying a lot of guilt after cutting off friends who behaved in ways he couldn't live with. Let's discuss.
Okay, let's discuss. First of all, I think this is funny. In the second Instagram thing that you just read where he's like, you know, kind of apologizing, but not really, saying, I'm, you know, look, this is my buddy and he can evolve too. And we've been friends a long time. So with that comes a picture of him like looking really self-reflective, like looking in, I don't know if you can see that, but he's got a pen and paper and he's writing this down and he looks really like pensive in the mirror. And I thought this was funny. Somebody at Delisted wrote, quote, first of all, how lucky was Patton that someone just happened to walk in and snap a candid picture during such a moment of quiet reflection. And then they wrote a moment sooner or later, and they might have gotten him post yawn or mid scratch. And then they wrote one more quote. Why do I get the feeling that's the point when Patton's publicist called him up and was like, Patton, are you sure this is the friendship, the hill that you want to die on? Which is an interesting point. So, okay. Couple things. First of all, I do agree that Patton has, and I can't give you specifics, and I know that you were going to ask, but I do think he's been a friend to an ally to LGBTQ. I think he's usually. I think
Patton?
Yes.
Oh
Patton.
My God, for sure. Patton is crazy, like great that way.
And he like speaks about it, and he's never back, you know, when it wasn't. Yeah. Okay. So we know that he doesn't feel the way whatever Chappelle was spewing out, whatever nonsense and vitriol that Chappelle like feels. We know that he doesn't agree with that.
Right.
So the question is, can they be friends?
Yes.
We differ. Yes. So you're agreeing. So oh God, we're not fighting though. We should be fighting.
No, but I will tell you what triggered me about it.
Okay. What
triggered me about it is the fact that Patton had to separate himself, right? And come out with such a strong statement saying, I 100% disagree with Dave Chappelle's views. Makes it so much more clear that Dave Chappelle has fucked up views.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I get so mad when like Dave Chappelle comes out and says, I'm Team TERF. I'm this. Like he is out there with his fucked up views, like in everybody's face. And I have to go on Facebook or on wherever and argue with people that are like, oh my God, no, he's not anti-trans at all.
Right.
You missed the whole point of his, all people do is go, well, I guess you didn't actually watch the special.
Right.
Yeah, I did watch the special. And if you have a fucking brain in your head, you can see that he's basically screaming at you that he's not for LGBT people. He is against it. He doesn't believe in it. And yet people will go, oh, no. He had a best friend who was trans.
Right.
So to me, when I hear Patton Oswalt go, listen, Dave Chappelle's views are fucked up and I don't agree with them. I go, yeah, do you see? His friend that he's known for a million years is willing to say like, yeah, those views are wrong. I don't agree with them. Now, in your point, of course, I'm not saying he can't be friends with Chappelle. I don't think that he has to cut everybody off who disagrees with him politically. Patton's his own person. He makes it really clear. Like just because you're associated with somebody doesn't mean you like,
Well, that's the thing. Now here's what made me think of, this is what this made me think of. Like, I can support LGBTQ and I can support trans rights, of course, which I do, but I can't relate because I'm not a member of that community. I'm an ally to the community. I'm not a member. So I often think when I hear about stories like this is that I like the Mel Gibson thing and how mad I was at Jodie Foster for immediately casting him in a movie, immediately saying this is my buddy and standing by him. After all the things he said and did about specifically for me, the Jews, but then also Black people, gay people, punching his pregnant girlfriend. I didn't love that. And Jodie Foster, I know that is where we differ though. Because I didn't love it. And you were like, well, come on, you're so woke.
I was like, I don't believe in punching pregnant women, but that doesn't mean that like if Mel Gibson, I'm not going to cut him off because he hates pregnant women.
But that's the thing that like really made me mad because, and this is where I can understand why people might say, Patton, you really shouldn't. I mean, by posting this photo with Dave Chappelle, we get it. You're cool. You've known him a long time. You guys are both big comics. I could see how that would be offensive in that sense because relating it in my terms that I can, like I was really mad because I don't remember Jodie Foster. Like, did she ever come forward and say, this is all horrible things, but this is my friend who I know and I know he can do better. Did she say that? Or did she just say, here's a movie role and I love you no matter what? Like, what the fuck?
Well, and I do think there's a big difference. I think that what makes me less inclined to be mad at Patton is something that's because I do know Patton and I know that like with some people, like let's say what you're talking about, a Jodie Foster, she's not we don't know where she stands on everything politically. We don't know like what her views are. And so when you just blindly go like, I don't care what he did, he's my friend and I'm going to support him, then it does feel like you're making a choice.
Well, Whoopi did it kind of too. Whoopi Goldberg did it, which was shocking. She was like, Mel's a good she defended him to the not to the end because I wish it were the end for Mel, but you know what I mean? Like she just kept saying, that's my buddy. I was like, what the fuck? Sorry, I got, not to get sidetracked on that, but it's funny because the Patton thing, I was like, yeah, okay, it's not like you're saying we know who Patton is. But it did make me think of that, and I could see why people could get mad. It's funny. I'm actually taking the opposite side of what I thought I was going to take.
Well, see, but here's a difference. Like if Patton were to be, let's say, posing with like Louis C.K., okay, and being like, well, listen, Louis C.K. is a really good friend of mine, and I think that he can do better. Well, I don't know really why it's different because I guess
that doesn't bother me.
But
that doesn't bother me. I don't know why, but it doesn't bother me. But I do have a weird take on that.
Here's what I would say is the difference, and this is just me like talking out of my first response. Dave Chappelle didn't do something like it's over his views. right? So when you say like, well, he can do better and his views are always going to evolve, that means that Patton is kind of taking responsibility for like, I'm not going to just allow this to go unchallenged. Like, I'm always going to talk to him about this kind of thing. I'm not going to be like, oh, you don't agree with trans people? Cool, dude. Like,
Right.
Patton is outspoken.
Right.
So if he's saying, listen, I think that this isn't a lost cause, I'm not going to just accept. Like, he came out and said, I 100% disagree with him. Whereas a lot of celebrities don't do that. Like you're saying,
Right.
you know, they don't say like, I 100% disagree with what he did and it's abhorrent. And that doesn't represent my views at all. You know, we're talking about people that are just being Hollywood douchebags and being like, well, I support my friend.
Right.
It's like,
which
well,
I
then you're
saw
not
again and
acknowledging
again.
that it's fucked up. You're saying, I don't really believe it because he's a really good person.
It's so interesting. Yeah, no, I didn't have a problem. Of course, I don't have a problem with Patton, but being friends with Dave Chappelle or posting a photo and like you said, following it up with, look, we don't agree and I'm going to keep working on him basically. And I believe him. I believe Patton in that. Like you were just saying, and Dave Chappelle, I mean, he did say some stuff that it just doesn't make the world a better place, but it's not as cut and dry as Mel Gibson, like punching his pregnant girlfriend in the face and knocking out 2 teeth. They are, I mean, you could argue that what Chappelle says could cause someone to do that, could incite some kind of, thing like that. But that's not, we can't prove, that's something different. So I think that there is a difference there. And by the way, I looked up to see like the Jodie Foster, did she always defend him? And there's an article in the Hollywood Reporter, like she will not stop defending. She basically said after the whole thing happened with Mel Gibson, she's like, he came up in an interview with her and she said, I knew the minute I met Mel Gibson, I would love him forever. Like,
ugh.
Oh my God. Like, all right, I get it, Jodie Foster. You're not Jewish. You're not of color. You're not whatever. Okay. But he said, I mean, you are a woman. Like you're a person, you're a human that like can feel things for other people. I would imagine.
Maybe. We don't know. We're putting that on her. She's an actress.
You make a really good point. By the way, I am not implying I want Mel Gibson to leave us. I did say, I was like, it's not the end, though I regret saying what I just said about Mel Gibson. I don't want him to pass away. I just want him to learn. Is that fair?
And the problem is that a lot of these people don't learn because people just support him and go like, well, he's awesome. He has a right to say what he says. I do think these people need to be challenged. And I'm glad that Patton came out and challenged it and said, this is fucked up. What he said is fucked up.
So we are pro Patton here is our hot take. Also,
and it wouldn't help for him to just be like, listen, he's Dave Chappelle and he's a genius of our time. And like, listen, we can't expect everyone to be perfect, which would then really trigger me.
Okay, well, here's one more thing that's going to trigger you, and then we should go.
Yeah, let's talk about Michael Che. No, we have another topic before we end this.
Okay, Michael Che.
We got to talk about Dave.
Keckner.
Yeah,
Michael Che, really quick, who I'm a fan of, as you guys know. I have a big crush on Michael Che. I do. I think he's very funny, a great writer on SNL, and I'm very attracted.
And so did Leah from Real Housewives.
Oh, yeah, but he didn't like her, but he would like me. I don't think he would like me, but I would like him. Anyway, he has an ongoing beef, and it's one of those things. It's similar to Chappelle in the sense that I don't know if he really has this beef or really gives a shit or if he just is always trying to stir stuff up. He's like a professional troll online. He loves to get people like fighting. I don't know how much of it he means. Anyway, he posted on Instagram today, I will never be ashamed of my friends. And then it's a like painting nails emoji. So you already know he's just fucking with us. He's just fucking with us. But the picture is of him with some other comics. And then he has photoshopped Hannah Gatsby's face over every single comic's face. So there's like 5 different photos and he poorly photoshops her face. And the reason that this kind of hit me, a lot of people loved it, and there's 15,000 as of press time, 15,000 likes. He doesn't like her. He came out again and said, "I don't think she's funny,"
because Hannah Gatsby had the audacity to say that she didn't agree with Netflix, like that she's not okay with transphobia.
Right.
How dare she?
he had issues with her before. He had this whole thing long before the Chappelle thing where he was like, I'm just going to say the thing that is, she's not funny. That's his take. That's his right to feel that way. Although he was missing the whole point of her special. I mean, no, you and I talked about her special, the original one that made her famous. We weren't laugh out loud. Oh my God. We were like, it's more of a TED Talk. Yeah. But he's now making it a point to, he's making a thing. He's making a joke, but he's also trying to piss people off. But the people that, of course, comment, that follow him, like, love it.
Of course.
They love it.
Of course they do.
And it's all kinds of shitty, like, awful, mean comments that he lets stand. So I was confused because you can feel so many different things at once. I can think that Hannah Gatsby is not that funny. I agree. But does that mean you have to troll her for the rest of your life? Or should you just move on and do your own comedy that you think is funny? When did comedy become like a thing, like like rappers, like, okay, I'm going to sound really old, but I don't know what other term to use, but like dissing each other,
Like making a diss track?
Making a diss track. Why not just make your own music? Just do your thing. You don't have to it doesn't have to be about Eminem, I then just pull out just like one rapper I know. Eminem's the only rapper, right? I don't know other ones.
Well, and what really bothers me is that I don't like when these things become a woke culture, a takedown of woke culture. Like, oh, we all have to love trans people now because like, oh, we're so woke. We can't like say the thing that it's like fucked up or what. Like, no, you can't say the thing because it doesn't have anything to fucking do with you.
Right.
Like being hateful should not be something that you're proud of yourself. Like I'm actually not woke and I'm willing to be a hater because like I'm not scared of this freaking cancel culture.
It looks like he might have put Dane Cook in some of these too, which I do have to give him some laughs on that one. He is just putting in the worst comics that he can think of and pretending that he stands by them. Some of them are real and some of them are not. And I'm not sure if Dane really was in this picture, but I'm pretty sure. I can't tell if it's photoshopped or not, but Hannah definitely is. In conclusion, we agree with Patton, and I just still think Michael Che is funny. Bye.
Okay, but now we have to. I think that we need to discuss this Dave Koechner thing.
Okay, so Dave Koechner, for those who don't remember, was Champ in Anchorman.
I feel like this is you putting a toe into the really cold water. You're like, you guys are not going to care about this or even probably know who this is. But
I feel like we should peek behind the curtain. We should leave it at our one hot take. Like that's the big thing. Because what are we going to say? Like he got a DUI. He's an asshole.
At 3:00 in the afternoon. And hit a car. Like
didn't hit a car. I thought he had hit a signpost.
Oh, okay. Well, he hit his car then into a signpost. And he was hammered. And I just think it's funny that some takes that I've seen on Facebook, he's recently divorced out of nowhere. And he has 18 kids.
No.
Yeah, they have kids? 6 kids. They have 6 kids.
Okay. All right. Well, then that seems like you lied there. You lied for the story.
I am a liar. I am such a liar. Okay, they have a lot of kids, and they both posted a lot of things about their marriage. I think they might have been. Now this is a real hot take because it's probably not even true. That's how hot it is. That's how hot my take is. But they might be very religious, pretending, the whole thing is that there's some hypocrisy going on here because, people were like, oh, they got divorced. Oh, she must have just she must be crazy, and really feeling bad for him. And then some of the takes I saw were like, oh, never mind. Maybe it was a him problem,
Yeah, isn't that funny how that's always, the spin, because he's the one with the publicist.
Right,
he's the one that, so whatever. And but what was funny about the Dave Koechner, nothing's funny about it. It's shitty and
it's a little funny.
Gets help. Well, the mugshot, he's so mad in the mugshot. Although I don't know, I kind of miss the mugshot days of Paris Hilton and Lindsay where they're still doing duck lips. I mean, they're just like, you know what? I'm here. And I know this is going to go out there on GMT, so I might as well try to look hot.
Yeah, even when they're kind of drunk in the picture, they're still like trying to kind of purse their like is this sexy? And you're like, well, your face is smudged with makeup and soot for some reason,
and
but
tears
and tears.
And they put their head slightly down and like they're like, can you hold the camera higher? I look thinner with a higher. But yeah, no, Keckner's just mad. I mean, he's so mad. But if
he's like, I'm not drunk, you fucking assholes. Yeah.
And it was, if I were to call, I loved Anchorman. I think many of us did. And if I were to call those four, so you had Will Ferrell, Steve Carell, Paul Rudd, and Dave Keckner. If I were to call the one that would be drunk at 3:00 in the afternoon and get a deal, it would be him.
Yes.
I mean, it's certainly not going to be Paul Rudd.
No.
Steve Carell seems to be doing all right. Will Ferrell seems okay. It can happen.
Yes. Yes.
Well, those are I think we did a great job on our hot takes. Should we call it something else like lukewarm takes? I'm not trying to I don't want to undersell us.
Room temperature takes.
Yes, room temp takes. A little too late. I don't hate it.
Having an opinion after a lot of other people have weighed in. That's us.
I love that we're trying to come up with the name of this segment on this segment.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can help us.
You guys vote. Okay, I'm going to go post this up right now.
Yeah, this is exciting and scary.
Okay.
Yay. Okay, we love you. We thank you. We're sorry.
Not sorry.
We're
no,
not
we're
sorry.
not sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about what I said about the episode. Bye.
Bye.